We did our yard sale yesterday, and we got to tell you, it was so funny. Stella and I were talking this morning. We were living our own Saturday Night Live skit out there. So when we do this next year, you guys have got to come and help and be part of it, because we laughed so hard, and it was just really fun to have times when we're not being our job, our career, or doing something, and just sit there and laugh and tell jokes like we used to, and remember how to have fun, which I think I've forgotten and need to be reminded every so often. So thank you everybody that was there and helped. Everybody put a lot of hours in, and it was greatly appreciated. And then when we find out how much money we made when Annadale counts it, then we'll tell everybody that too. May is the month of feminine principle, and June is the month of the masculine principle. And if you heard me talk last month, the history according to Sandy, you kind of get an idea of how my mind weirds out and goes out to different places. So I got to thinking about, I'm really focused on healing and the personal responsibility that we each have to heal to make the world a better place. And I have questions like, how will I know when I get there? How will I know if I have it? What does it look like? What am I trying to achieve with all of this? So I was looking at the two, and for me, we use both of them in different aspects of healing. The nurturing, the co-creation, how we plan it, the logic of putting it together, making the plans come together, doing the work, embodying it. They kind of dance with each other together, trying to find a balance. So what's balance? So I have this picture that my goal is to achieve wholeness. And if I look at wholeness in the larger aspect, to me that would be like at one-ment with Source. But when I'm looking down here in my 3D world with this individuated part of me, what is wholeness for me here? And I got to playing around with the word whole. What does that mean? I thought, well, if I have an apple and I'm asked, did you eat the whole apple? I'll say yes if I ate the apple. But I didn't eat the stem, and I didn't eat the seeds. And then apples are different colors and different sizes and different shapes and used for different things. So whole was describing all of that. Or you have a pie. A pie can be sliced into different slices. It can be made out of different things. It can be different sizes, big, small chicken pot pie, little tart. But we would consider each part of those whole within themselves. So that took me to the thought that whole or wholeness isn't static. It isn't a constant. It's evolving. It's constantly changing, and it's fluid. So when they used to say, like, we're perfect for our stage of development, we're whole for our stage of development too. When I went into healing after my addiction, I felt so scattered and so broken and so fragmented. I can remember the thought, will I ever be whole again? And looking back at it now, it was like, okay, what did that mean? I had so many pieces, and so many of them were in pain. There were a few good ones. There were love. There were some nice experiences. There were ones I never wanted to see again or ever tell anybody about. And I realized that my wholeness had to change. That what I considered Sandy as whole before was all broken and messed up now. And that was the universe's way of getting me out of my ruts and showing me that I needed to move on. So again, my wholeness was evolving. It's changing. So when I looked then at the apples again, all the different kinds, or the pies, all different kinds, shapes, colors, recipes, that meant that wholeness is individual. So my state of wholeness is individual for me at my state of development for now. So whatever I am in this moment, in my now moment, in my reality, is my state of wholeness. So then I started looking at that in relationship to consciousness. Consciousness is energy, and energy is consciousness. So consciousness is everything. Energy is God, God is everything, we're all one. So if consciousness is everything, then wholeness is everything that my consciousness is at this moment. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask them, if I could rephrase things or say it again. So whatever I am in this moment, is perfect for me right now because it's where I am in my lessons, in my class, what I'm working on. And I have a state of consciousness that is Sandy's wholeness right now, whatever that is. So I'm going, okay, so how will I ever know if I have it? Because it's constantly changing. It's different from day to day. And I realize that it becomes one of these things we have to accept as given. God is. We accept that. If we don't accept that, then none of this else flows for us in the way that we believe it. So then I accept that consciousness is. That's another given for me. That if God is consciousness, then consciousness is given. So this is now my spiritual foundation for my healing and my wholeness. Okay, so consciousness and God are energy. That's another piece of it. Energy moves. We know that it does that. A chair has energy moving in it. It's just what rate is it moving at, which again is constantly evolving or changing or shape-shifting. So we have all these things going on as our spiritual foundation. So when we talk about our reality as being illusion, it's because we can change it. It doesn't have to stay this way because it's evolving, it's moving. It has the freedom to recreate itself. Then another given we're given is that it's all intelligent. So in the intelligence, it can all move this. So that means that my state of being right now is completely immersed in God's source. It is a totality of my individuated consciousness. It moves. It's not the same as anybody else's because we're all different, and that's why they tell you you don't compare, because each one of us is doing it differently for different reasons and different purposes at different stages. And I can change it. So when I get to that point, that means that working on wholeness and healing is empowering. I can become self-empowered, self-individuated, because I have the power to take all these marvelous things, which they used to call nana, and make something out of it. And if I don't like where I am right now, then if I don't like my current state of wholeness, I need to do something about it. So it all works together, it all evolves as it keeps going on, as it's more becoming. So when we look at the philosophy of religious science and how we do treatment work, or how we work with manifestation, or how we talk about thoughts, you can see how important it is, because when you step it down from source, we're the only ones that have any power in our lives. We have the power to allow or not to allow anything. So when we get to that point, that tells us wholeness doesn't allow victimizer, the games that go on. Because I need to work to not be that, because now I want to go back up, right? And I want to get back to my one with source. So all these things that are going on in my 3D world, I have to start dropping off. If I'm self-empowered and I can co-create, I don't have to let no one else can hurt me. If I am hurt, I am upset, I'm feeling victimized, then in my current state of wholeness, I have allowed that to happen. I co-created that. I made that happen. So when we look at the feminine principle and the feminine principle in wholeness, I'm using all of that in a reversed way. I'm not being the mother to myself. I'm not doing all the lovely things in DL's song. I'm allowing myself to feel pain and to feel hurt and all of the things that go with that. So it shows that when it gets down here in the 3D world, that we are responsible to use the feminine or the masculine principle in an appropriate way. It's like healthy habits, healthy behaviors, ones that aren't healthy. We don't have to call it good or bad, it's just, is it working? And am I using it to its highest good?